Howdy, neighbors. I'm Commissioner Sid Miller with the Texas Department of Agriculture. Today I'd like to talk to you about one of the most exciting new prospects for Texas farmers in a long time, Texas hemp. You've heard a lot about it on the news, but now it's time for a little straight talk from the Commissioner. As you might remember, back in 2018, Congress passed the U.S. Farm Bill, which lifted the restrictions on the production of industrial hemp. Then in 2019, the Texas legislature responded with House Bill 1325, and that directed the Texas Department of Agriculture to establish an industrial hemp program for the state of Texas. Since then, me and my team here at TDA have been working hard to develop a Texas hemp program that complies with state and federal guidelines. But I'm not going to add any more restrictions than necessary. Hey, look, I'm not going to put Texas at a disadvantage over other states. In my hemp program, I'm going to make sure that Texas farmers are protected and that they prosper. Industrial hemp represents a new crop opportunity for Texas farmers. However, like any new enterprise, there are considerable risks involved. I'd like to take a moment and talk about some of those risks and how you might navigate around those. Number one, always have a buyer and a contract. The best piece of advice I can give you is if you don't have a contract to sell your product, don't plant it. The hemp market in Texas and around the nation is relatively new and therefore unsettled. New uses of the products are emerging, but they're not yet fully established. There's new producers and processors and a web of state and federal regulations to consider. And market saturation could be a real problem. As you know, if a farmer thinks he can make a huge profit on a crop, he'll plant the world level with it. So don't get stuck with a product and know where to sell it. Number two, be on the lookout for fraud. As usual with any new emerging industries, there's a risk of fraud. Do your research and make sure you buy hemp seeds or plants from only reputable dealers and only sell to reputable buyers. Hemp requires very high inputs, and unfortunately there's always someone out there looking to take advantage of you. There are many dealers and processors across this country that are working hard to establish an honest hemp industry. So do your research. Number three, growing concerns. Now let's be clear, hemp's relatively new to Texas. As such, there's not a lot of data to know how different varieties will react to our Texas climate. Research from other states show that when varieties do well in one type of soil or climate, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do well everywhere you plant them. Our unpredictable Texas weather can cause some major problems in your crop's Delta-9 THC levels. For example, 1 week of good old Texas drought might spike the THC levels too high, making your crop illegal. On the other hand, hemp doesn't like wet feet, so excessive soil moisture can diminish your yield. Remember, your crop's going to be tested before harvest to make sure it's not above the 0.3 THC level. So while state law doesn't require you to monitor those THC levels during production, you might consider investing in periodic testing to see how your variety is reacting to local soil and the local weather. Number four, pest and disease. Some might have you believe that hemp's not prone to diseases and there's no known insects that will affect hemp. That's all baloney. Let me tell you, neighbor, don't believe that. Hemp's just like any other crop. It can be attacked by several plant diseases, including southern blight, leaf spot. Hemp's susceptible to all kinds of infestations of earworm, fall armyworm, and a host of others. Now, the EPA is currently approving new pesticides for use on hemp. They're not approved yet, but stay tuned. As of today, there's no pesticides approved for use on hemp in Texas. Keep that in mind. As you consider jumping into industrial hemp, remember that with all those promises of high profits comes high risk. Hopefully I've drawn your attention to some of those risks so you can make informed decisions. Here's a couple more tips to remember. Do your research. Don't overload your boat. Data shows that the most successful growers produce 3 acres or less. Don't bite off more than you can chew. 2, know your buyer. Get a contract with a processor. Understand the terms of that contract. Number 3, and as always, don't spend any more money on this crop than you can afford to lose. Hey, you want to watch a good video on growing hemp? Go to YouTube, look for Hemp for Victory. It's made in 1940. Best video I've seen on growing hemp. Check it out. As your ag commissioner, I've been a long-time advocate of giving Texas farmers the chance to grow industrial hemp. I'm excited this time has finally come. I hope this video will give you the tools you need to succeed. On behalf of everyone here at the Texas Department of Agriculture, thank you. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters. If you would like more information about our Texas Hemp program, please read our frequently asked questions on the Texas Department of Agriculture website at texasagriculture.gov or reach out to one of our TDA staff. We're here to help.